evening and welcome to a live edition of Flames Unfiltered. I am Burud, joined alongside Kyle Lewis, and 24 NHL Trade Deadline. We'll do our live show. We'll see how long it runs, man. Maybe a couple hours. We'll see.
Hard to say.
We got a lot to talk about. That's just it. We're not talking just about deadline. We got a lot of other things we want to go through that have happened in Calgary over the last week since we last talked on the show. And and it's deadline day. It's always a fun day in the NHL.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite days of the year. The only thing is, a lot obviously happens up to. So if you saw James Duthie's memes on X, but he was kind of having a panic attack the last few days that everything had already happened, which not everything, but a lot has happened, right? Especially for our beloved Flames.
You know, and I think that's going to be more and more common, just with general managers having so much they have to do, that it's not that uncommon, really, is it?
No, not at all. Well, especially the last few years, right? I find it's changed. I mean, I don't remember specifically a lot of the trade deadline details, except for obviously those that affected the Flames. But it's kind of the way of the world the last little while.
And, I don't know. Today's show is going to be a little different, as Kyle and I are going to be updating things when we see them on Twitter. You're going to see us looking down a little bit more. We're on our phones. We don't usually do that. It's not that our attention's not on the show. It's deadline day. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, man.
And Jordan Orsley just cleared waivers, so that's the breaking news in
That's
Calgary.
the least surprising news of the day.
Let's run through a little bit, and then we want to talk about your trip and everything. The big hot news right now that everybody's talking about is Jake Allen goes to
Jersey.
And everybody's freaking out about that in Calgary, and Twitter is going crazy. And I don't know. It frustrates me.
Jake Allen's father is a school teacher in Fredericton, which I lived in Fredericton, New Brunswick for 4 years. So Jake just built a rather large house where he spends his off seasons back home. He's something of a local celebrity. He got shoved out in St. Louis a little while ago. Obviously was an asset for Montreal that, they didn't really need. I think he's just insurance. He's as I said to you just prior to coming on, very much a consolation prize for the Devils, who obviously were very strongly after Jacob Markstrom. So he's still a very capable goaltender. There's nothing wrong with this move. Now, I say that.
What are they doing, though? The Devils have according to, I believe it's MoneyPuck, 17.7 chance of making the playoffs. And they're bringing in Jake Allen. Why not just wait till, do they think they're going to make the playoffs? Why not wait till the next? I don't know. But then I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here later in the show when I'm sitting here talking about, can Calgary make the playoffs? And, I think it's a pipe dream. I really think it's a pipe dream. But you don't know. Look at how we're playing. Very unlikely.
Oh, it's extremely unlikely. It was already unlikely. And then that loss to Seattle was a real kick in the pants. But moreover, it was more a case of nobody's helping them. Nobody is helping them.
No.
Nashville won't stop winning, and it's absolutely infuriating because on the run, Calgary, in a realistic scenario, Calgary should have made up about 4 to 6 points in the standings. Instead, they've made up none. None.
But what do you do? What do you do? It kind of is what it is, isn't it? We're doing everything we can. We're playing good hockey. that's all we really can ask for as fans, right? Look at all the guys we've lost, and this team keeps winning.
Yeah, I said this to Kent Wilson yesterday, and he liked my post, so I guess he agreed. It's kind of the best of both worlds because it's entertaining to watch them, especially trouncing Tampa Bay last night. But we're still acquiring assets and moving on from UFAs, which obviously we had some serious problems doing in the last couple of years. So this isn't necessarily the draft year that you want to bottom out because it's not considered to be a real high-end draft. So it doesn't really bother me. And I see a lot of people on X right now as I update it, and understandably so, frustrated that Markstrom wasn't moved. The talk that he's not going to be moved until at least the summer.
So how do you feel about that? How do you feel? I know. Okay, let's put it this way. I don't think the whole fan base feels that way. I feel the most vocal ones feel that way. And I'm not knocking them for that. I'm vocal on a lot of my opinions too. So it is what it is. We're all going to have opinions, whether they're
like assholes, right?
Or it's just the way it is. But I think it's crazy right now for us to bash this organization, the ownership, and Conroy for not trading Markstrom when we have absolutely zero idea. Nobody knows at all what the return was. Like, let's throw stones at somebody and we have no idea what the return.
They keep talking about Dawson Mercer, which obviously would have been nice, but
do you really believe that?
Oh, I think it's possible. I mean, with a team like Jersey that really, really wants a goaltender, like I get it, but
a team that has 17% chance of making the playoffs is going to trade Dawson Mercer to get a goaltender.
But they're a fairly deep team. I mean, it's not unthinkable. And Markstrom's contract isn't a bad one the way he's been playing.
Yeah, but I think New Jersey, when they were looking at Markstrom, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was more of like, well, this is something that'll help us for the next few years, not just this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So are they going to give up? Like, I don't know. I think I think we all think that the return from Markstrom is going to be bigger than it is. Because
well, the thing is that there's also a lot of people banking on, hey, he's playing so well right now. Like, this is the time you have to trade him. And I don't disagree with that. But at the end of the day, Conroy is kind of between the hammer and the anvil here. I mean, he's got a team that's playing their best hockey this season. They had their first 5-game winning streak since they made it to the 2022 playoffs. Like, it's and ownership being the way it is, and love it or hate it, and most people hate it. That it is what it is. That's what you have to work with.
So if we win the Stanley Cup in 5 years, is the fan base then going to love the ownership?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't hear anybody.
They just won't say anything.
I don't understand. Like, at least we have an ownership that's keeping the team in town.
And let's be clear here too, for those that are listening, especially when we're live, can't edit this. We're playing devil's advocate and raising questions. It's not to say that sometimes we talk about the fan base and it sounds as if we don't belong to it, which we very clearly do. I just spent a ton of money. Yeah, so we're not trying to be hypercritical of anybody. Yeah, we're just debating the issues.
Not all the fan base feels the same, right? And no fan base all feels the same.
No,
they don't. Everybody has their different opinions. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have taken a deal to trade Markstrom. Like I would.
No, of course not.
Everybody said from the beginning, that's a tough deal to make during the season. It's a tough in-season trade. And I don't think just because we didn't land a trade to get Markstrom out today doesn't mean that our return is going to be awful in the summer or any different in the summer.
Well, I saw it earlier. It was mentioned earlier that the goaltending market of the summer is not strong. So you don't think there's going to be a team or two who are going to faceplant in the playoffs because of bad goaltending? And then all of a sudden they enter the conversation?
Yeah. So what happens if Edmonton's goaltending sneaks back up on them in the playoffs? I mean, they're going to be out and they're going to be wanting to move. I mean, I don't know. I guess my point is I don't necessarily disagree with what a lot of people are saying on the socials right now.
God, we love that word.
But I don't think that it's doom and gloom because we didn't trade Jacob Markstrom.
No, Flames Nation posted a joke that the Flames are looking to bring back Ole Jokic and Alex Tanguay for the third time.
and Owen Nolan too.
Oh, man. Oh, I like that season of Owen Nolan. That was fun. Let me bring up the trade tracker here and so what else there is to talk about in terms of.
Who else? Let's speculate a little bit here. Who else from the Flames do you think was talked about or shopped? I don't want to say shopped about. Who did we field calls on today? And who would you consider trading on this team right now? Who would you consider trading?
I'm not even going to say the first name because he's inactive right now. Most of our trade, I mean, yeah, most of our trading in terms of who we needed to trade, and let's focus on that positive. Most of that's already been done.
Yes.
In terms of, I've heard Mangiapane's name batted around. I don't have an issue moving him if it's a good return.
Well, he's UFA next year.
Yeah, and he's still got a lot of value. The puck still goes in the right direction. He's still a decent goal scorer. I think he's got 13 this year. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, it breaks up the Flames' best line. Although you could make the case that after watching, Sharangovich and Huberdeau with Coronado, that they could become at least the top offensive line. That, you might want to keep Mangiapane, but I think there's a market for him. I think it's a low-key acquisition for a team to make that could really help them make a playoff run. So I think that's one name to look at. Defensively, I don't see anybody else being moved. I've heard it said that Rasmus Andersson hasn't played very well lately, and I'm inclined to agree. I don't find he's had a great season, but I don't think there's any appetite to move him again unless it's something they can't refuse, which is unlikely.
Man, we don't hardly have any. How can we move any more?
No, but we'll get to this in a bit, but I'm very excited about our D-men that we do have right now.
What would you entertain conversation on Nazem Kadri?
I'm not even sure that there'd be one, but I mean, yeah. If you can get out from underneath a big contract, yeah, you have to look at it.
No, you don't think that somebody would maybe consider taking that on?
Only if there's retention involved, which kind of defeats the purpose. Because again, like you've got a team.
1 year ago, everybody was willing to pay that for him, and he hasn't had a bad year.
But it doesn't matter. He's got too much term left. And not only that, they're not going to get this team because they're too competitive right now. Even if they can't make the playoffs, they still think that they can. So, unless it's a hell of a deal, like I don't see it. And also, I mean, you need to have good people around.
You think that when Conroy and those guys are having coffee this morning, they're actually, I think they're hopeful for the playoffs, but I think they're realistic people. I think they're like me. It's like, yeah, it'd be awesome to make the playoffs this year, but do I think we're going to do it? Probably not. I wouldn't bet any money on it. I'd actually bet a lot of money that we don't.
Yeah.
And I think Conroy and them all feel the same exact way.
Yeah.
But I think so many people are saying that they think they're going to make I don't think they think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they would hope to, right?
No, it's too steep of a climb at this point. Now, the only way it would happen again is if somebody like the LA Kings and Nashville Predators completely falls apart, and I just don't see that happening, especially Nashville. Like,
do you think there's any chance that anybody would have wanted Kuzmenko?
Oh, yeah, he's played well for the Flames. He really has. Yeah, well, I mean, a couple of defensive gaps, sure, but I mean, he revitalized the power play. He's got a great attitude. And he's very skilled. I mean, why the hell not?
I think he's had some pretty good ups, and I think he's had some pretty good downs in his short stint. And to judge him is probably unfair right now. I mean, it's pretty early. Yes, in that whole. Yeah. I did think maybe we would see, and we still may, as we probably, what are we, 40 minutes from deadline? I thought maybe we would see Rooney's name come up, maybe. I don't think the return would be much, but I thought that would be a name that might come up.
Yeah, well, I mentioned that, and you kind of thought, really? But yeah, why not?
Man, I can't believe I'm saying this because I thought he was an anchor for us, and I still don't know that he's not. But I mean, an anchor in a bad way.
Yeah,
I don't know though that he couldn't be a decent fourth line center for us next year.
Well, he could, and this is the same reasoning why I got a little bit frustrated yesterday, and people were bemoaning the Flames, but really Wranglers' acquisition of Riley Damiani. Like, it's a good player.
So let's talk about that, and then we gotta talk about the Noah Hanifin deal too. Obviously, that's a huge talking point. So we get an AHL trade last night. So talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Well, you get a guy who's kind of gone stale in our system, the same as Damiani had in the Texas system for Dallas. Like, I like AHL swaps because, in my opinion, and I mean, I never played any level of pro. Well, we wouldn't be doing this if I did, or maybe we would, but hopefully I'd still have a few years left.
It'd be a hell of a lot more popular show, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
That does, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Wranglers have a good hockey team. I watched them play when I was in Calgary, and they totally blew it against Colorado in the game that I saw. But I think when you have guys that have been in your system for a long time, like, they're only going to move, laterally. Like, there's no more, they might get a couple games in NHL to try him out. But I mean, I don't think Emilio Peterson was going to be anything for the Flames. I'm not saying he will be for Dallas either, but it changes up your chemistry. Damiani's a fast center. I think he's 6'3", like, he's a good size. He helps the Wranglers on a playoff run, I think. And if he does that, all those guys like Matthew Coronado are going to be a part of that, have a chance to potentially win a championship because they have teammates like that on board, right? So I don't bemoan those moves at all. I mean, everybody always wants the big trade. We've already made a lot of big trades, and I think done quite well with them.
I think this move was fine. I mean, from what I've heard, he's got more of a how do I put this? More of an NHL potential than Pettersson did. It's tough to say. They're both AHL players, but
and one was the AHL Rookie of the Year a few years ago, I believe.
He was, yes, he was.
And that's no small feat. It's still pro hockey. I mean, I liked it.
Let's talk about the Hanifin deal and we'll cut out of it if something happens here as we talk on deadline day, and we're both stare at our phones as we talk. And Noah Hanifin, he finally gets dealt to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
You mean the Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah, jeez.
How's that coffee?
All right. Vegas Golden Knights, a conditional first round in 2025.
The weirdest condition of all time.
Well, you want me to read the condition?
I do, and I'm going to tell a funny story that relates to the condition.
It says, in the event Vegas possesses their own first-round choice in the 2025 draft on March 10th, 2024.
Saturday.
And the event that Vegas 2025 first-round choice is not a top 10 pick, i.e. 11 through 32 inclusive, in the 2025 NHL draft after the NHL 2025 draft lottery results, Vegas shall convey their own 2025 first round choice to the Calgary Flames. In the event that Vegas does not possess their own first round choice in the 2025 NHL draft due to the above noted conditions, Vegas shall convey their own 2026 first round pick to the Calgary Flames. That 2026 pick would not be lottery protected. Whew, did we get that?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Makes the Monahan one look well, not really. I guess I still don't understand that one. I still don't know that one.
I think it's funny that they have to explain what not top 10 means. That was my favorite
like
part of that.
Yeah, yep. And then so basically in layman's terms, it was if Vegas still had their first round pick come Saturday, Calgary gets it, right?
And I was wrong. Actually, you said the 10th. That would be Sunday if that's the case. So
why would they do it till then?
Arbitrary date selection, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But it reminded me of, and it's funny because I play hockey with this guy now. He's one of my closest friends and had been at the time. But a lot of my friends were a year older than me in high school. And when they were all getting ready for their prom, this girl asked me, this is how she asked it. She's like, and everybody called me Lewis at the time, right? She said, "Hey, Lewis, if I can't find somebody else to go to the prom with me, will you go?" And I'm like, what the fuck? And she what she meant to say was like, I'm going to probably go with somebody from my graduating class. Like we were just friends. But the way she asked it was like, really? Yeah. And that's how that train condition kind of sounded to me. So anyway, eventually she ended up, even though she graduated with the guy, years later started dating this guy that I'm friends with, and now we play hockey together. So I'm going to make him listen to this. So, because I'm not even sure if he knew that. I know she'll never forget it, but
you won't either.
No, that's why I brought it up. So it's a weird condition, but I mean, it's a first. A first is a first is a first. So that was always
Calgary also gets a conditional 2025 third round pick and defenseman Daniel Miramonov heading to Vegas is Noah Hanifin, 50% retained by Calgary, 25% retained by Philadelphia. I believe Philadelphia got, what was it, a fifth rounder for that?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of mixed feelings on the socials for this trade. I thought it was a fairly decent return. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had to pull out the phone and Google Miramonov.
Oh, that's where we differ.
You know him, so you're talking, all right?
Well, forward turn defenseman, thanks to Igor Larionov.
At 19 years old.
At 19, yeah. And Larionov was like amazed this kid had never played defense prior. So, hell of a shot, great skater, by all accounts, good teammate, and that includes his former, now current teammate Jacob Pelche, because they played the 17-18 season together with the Moncton Wildcats right here in my hometown. So I'm really excited about this guy, and I don't know if you read his comments or heard his comments, but he oozes confidence. And some people were making fun of him for saying, 2 to 3 years, I'm going to be one of the best defensemen in the league. But who knows? I mean, he has a lot of the tools, so we'll see what his ceiling is.
I did find it interesting. He was the call up that sent Braden Cal to waivers, so the Flames claim him. He also was when Pietrangelo was out with injury. He was actually he was heading the Vegas power play for a short time. He was an all-star defenseman in the American Hockey League. This is going to be an interesting one. It's really going to be an interesting one. And the Flames double down on him and signed him to a 2-year, $1.25 AAV contract right away.
Yep.
Which I don't know. That surprised me slightly, but I guess the price tag is really good.
They know what they're getting. They feel anyway, and they see the potential. And I do too from having watched him play. So I'm hopeful. You also asked me a question on X, and I didn't look it up, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer.
Okay.
As to the last Flame to wear number 62, I believe that it was Andrei Nazarov.
I don't know. I got to look up the answer. I know there's one. You want to? I'll name you one. There's one. Chris Chucko.
He wore 62?
He was number 60.
Oh, then he was at Nazarov played in 99, 2000. So I'm going way back. Did he? Yeah, you're right. He did. Oh, it's disappointing. Oh, there's Miromanov interviews on the Flames website, so I'll watch those after.
So we'll talk as I'm finding this here because we're on the fly today, right?
Yeah.
I think Chucko was the last one.
He would have been, I'm sure. Yeah.
And where's my sheet that shows that? All right, I'm not finding it right now. Anyways, let's move on. I will find that information. Maybe not as the day goes on. It might have to be as... Oh, here we go. I got it. I found my page. It is 3 players have wore it. Chris Chucko was the last. You were right.
He was, yeah.
The other one's going to piss you off.
There were 62?
Yep. Rico Fata.
Oh, Fata?
Yeah, Fata.
Yeah, I saw one of his game warns on Facebook Marketplace, maybe. 44.
So, I had a question for you. The Hanifin trade was somewhat of a hostage situation.
Yeah, it was.
And how his agent, Brisson, manipulated and maneuvered so that he went to certain teams. Now, he had a list, and the Flames had to follow that list, but it was manipulated more than it could have or should have. I guess it's up to a mere opinion on that one. What were your feelings on that?
This is always a tricky one because I think it's important to try to stay somewhat neutral in these situations, but I will say there's a lot of circumstances wherein players are manipulating situations far too much, or more so, arguably their agents are doing so to try and leverage their clients to places they want to go because of climate, because of family, because of taxation reasons. I really didn't appreciate that being done. I don't think that Hanifin's going to get a necessarily warm reception when he returns. I don't really think that he should. Doesn't mean he should be booted out of the building either, but I'm getting a little tired of players leveraging things like that and hurt. Like Matthew Tkachuk, to his credit, and I won't get too much into the Gaudreau thing because at least in Gaudreau's case, we know it went right down to the wire. There was a lot of factors at play, and I do think there's some blame on the Flames for how that was handled. But I will say in Tkachuk's case, he negotiated the extension, like the trade and sign, the first of its kind, as a show of good faith to the Flames to get them as much return as possible. And this was kind of the opposite of that, so it doesn't sit particularly well with me. I don't hate Hanifin. He was a fantastic defenseman in a lot of ways for the team. But not really a cool thing to do. I'm not going to put too much blame on them necessarily because the problem is with socials. We know way too much these days, and everything leaks. That's why Markstrom was mad, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
It rubbed me the wrong way too. I understand that the players earn that, and they earn the right to how the situation gets handled. But there is a lot of things that happen that don't go public, right?
Yep.
And I think that if this was happening and it didn't go public, I don't have any problem with it at all. But I kind of hate when agents use fan bases and the media to leverage different situations, or maybe just stir the media.
Well,
when
yeah,
it's not necessarily necessary in this situation. Does that make sense?
Yep. It's just, I don't know. It's really frustrating again. Like, we know too much these days. It's ruined a lot of stuff. It's gotten too many people involved, made too many assumptions. And I've been guilty of that like everybody else. I don't know. I wish it'd been handled differently, but unlike a lot of others, I am happy with the return. And more than the return, I'm happy that it's over with because I don't want to hear about it anymore.
You know, that was one thing we talked about with this deadline is that, like, there was so many moving parts with the Flames and so many pending UFAs and just a lot of stress for obviously Craig Conroy, but also the fan base, right? We knew we had to get returns on these UFAs. Did we want necessarily them all to go? No, but if they're not re-signing, they're not re-signing, right? And
well, that's kind of it, yeah.
You look at what Craig Conroy has had to deal with, and I don't know what you think, but I've already got it. I already have an idea that I'd be willing to sell to somebody. I want my helmet. Who are they going to buy? Write a book with Craig Conroy, 365 days of fire. This first year as a general manager has been fire.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he's had to deal with more things in his first year. When you look at when you think about it, the Shillington thing, the Dubé thing, 5 pending UFAs, the Markstrom situation that I still want to expand on here in a little bit. It's a lot. And when you look at what we've got, it's not that bad. We've had 5.
It's good.
I'm happy with it.
Look at all the picks we have.
I got a question with that, though, as I switch my screen so I can see how many picks we have. We have a tremendous amount of picks in the next 3 years. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But I also question, like, okay, there's extremes of that too. And I can give you an example. The Arizona Coyotes,
who just gave away Jason Zucker for nothing.
For nothing, yes. But they have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 picks in this year's draft. They have 11 in the next year's draft.
Yep.
You can only have so many people under contract. True. You can't have this many prospects. You don't even have room for all your draft picks.
No, but they're assets. Doesn't mean you keep them all, right?
Draft
capital.
Did Arizona trade any of them today?
No, they got another one.
Exactly. So how long can you drag this on? Like, I think draft picks are good. Don't get me wrong, but like, we're starting to get a lot of them in Calgary.
Yep. When's the last time we did this though? Like, this gives us so much flexibility, in the next 3 or 4 drafts.
Next 3 drafts, we have a lot of flexibility. We're probably going to have a fair amount of cap space, I think, next year too. Really, the only pending UFA next year Majapani.
I think so.
No, Kuzmenko.
Oh yeah, so I did know that.
Sharon Govich.
Oh, he'll be around. Don't worry about him.
Walker Dewar, Hunt. Joel Hanley. Let's talk about Joel Hanley. A waiver pickup from the Dallas Stars this week. Played his first game last night.
Did you see his
number
underlying numbers? Yeah, his numbers are fantastic.
Tell me about it. I don't know what to expect with this guy. I think he's a really interesting. I thought he fit in fine last night. He maybe was a little slow in a couple situations.
Well, he's a little bit older than I thought he would be too. He's 32, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure he is. And then, like Pahal, Conroy's like the master of waivers. Look at him.
Pahal's been a better signing than Greer, and we raved about Greer early in the year. But
Greer was on the ice of the Flames today too, along with Connor Zary. So,
but Pahal has been like, could you ask for a better waiver pickup than him?
Nope, you literally cannot. Maybe Joel Hanley, maybe.
I completely feel comfortable with Pahal as a third pairing defense penciled in for the next 2 years. I'm fully comfortable.
Well, why wouldn't you? He was really good when I saw him play too. Maybe we should jump to that for a minute. Talk about this Calgary trip.
Yes, talk to us.
One of the best NHL hockey games you could possibly hope to attend. The Flames being down 3-1, coming back to win 4-3, and that Kadri goal was just ridiculous.
Pretty good too.
Oh, he's a great player, man. 25 or 26 goals now. 25, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's been brilliant. But as much as anything, the ceremony was unbelievable. The Flames always did the same as the Iginla ceremony 5 years ago. They do a fantastic job with jersey retirements. But it's really the 25. Yeah, cool. It for me, it's about the community and the fans that I meet and the places that I go. It's I met Kyle Dillon, who we've communicated on X for a while. I actually know his uncle. I met him at a Justice conference in Winnipeg years ago. So Kyle and I hung out a bit at the Wranglers game. That was cool. I want to give him a shout out because he's a great guy, and his girlfriend or wife, I forget which, but she was super sweet. And then post game and a few times prior, I wound up at Hitman's Bar. And as you know, and as any of our listeners know, I'm a big wrestling fan and one of the biggest Bret the Hitman Hart fans ever. And Bret's bar is just so fucking cool. It's full of his memorabilia, all of his title belts, a bunch of autograph stuff. You can buy merchandise there, like the old Hart Foundation jackets. And the manager, Seamus, is just the nicest, most gracious guy. Even if you're not into wrestling, if you want to go there for a sporting event or post, Flames, Wranglers, Roughnecks game, can't recommend it enough. It's right in Cowboys Casino. It's the coolest spot to go. They got some great, a great drink menu, a great food menu. And the atmosphere is just, it's so, so fun. So anybody who's in Calgary, visiting Calgary, you got to go. And he actually, and I want to thank him, for donning a Flames Unfiltered shirt the moment I gave it to him. And then a few others that we've sent them out to, and we still have a few more to send. But Mandy in Australia, who's a huge, huge Flames fan, she basically modeled it for us on X, and that was really cool of her. And she's a diehard too. So, there's a lot of people out there that, really some cool things to kind of push this podcast along, and can't thank them enough for that. So other than that, got to bring my dad out to check out the Rockies. That was cool.
So how was, that's something you and your dad will never forget. That's awesome. How was the retirement ceremony there live? We all watched it, some of them live, some of us not.
It was really funny. Jamie McLennan was hilarious.
He was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was really funny. The line about not getting pulled by Daryl one last time. And seeing Daryl Sutter there was really touching too. He belonged there.
Yes.
He alone is the reason that Kiprusoff had a chance. And Mika acknowledged that in his speech. And actually, Mika was very well spoken.
And I was super happy the ovation Daryl got, because the fan base really was good to him too. And well deserved that they should have been good.
Yeah, 100%. All the other innuendo aside, he did a lot for this franchise, as much as anybody, I would argue. But I cried. I won't lie. I cried during the ceremony, because it's for me, I was watching a big part of I was 16 when the 04 Cup run happened. And nobody believed in that team. I made so much money betting on the Flames in every round except for the last one, of course.
I tore my rotator cuff jumping off the couch.
That's amazing. I was wearing Flames jerseys to high school every day. People were getting behind me. Like, it was one of the funnest times in my life. And seeing Kiprusoff's jersey retired, Ginla was one thing. Kiprusoff, just as much, if not a little more so, epitomized that run for me. Because as good as Ginla was, you don't get that far without a goaltender, right? And it was just such a cool experience. And like, I bought so much merchandise, and like, I kept like the Kiprusoff beer cups. Thanks to the guy next to me whose name I can't remember, but he was just pounding beers and gave me a bunch of cups. And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun
too. They were really cool.
Yeah, the T-shirts that they hand out, or that they rather drape on your chairs and you take as you go. Like, it was just awesome, start to finish. So glad to be back. I was in Halifax for work a few days this week, right after I got back from Calgary, and I'm exhausted, but it's been a lot of fun.
Also cool, I thought. I don't know why the memory of the little boy that would stand behind the glass was always such a big part of the Kiprusoff.
Oh yeah, he was a big part of
here. And
Brendan Peters, is that his name? I believe.
I got it right in front of me. Where did it go? Yep, Brendan Peters.
Yeah.
He actually now designs goalie masks. Brought Kiprusoff a commemorative goalie mask. They got to meet. Just a cool story. But I'm glad you had a real fun trip. I'm jealous as hell, and was frustrated most of the week because I wasn't there with you. So, yeah.
Well, it just means we have to get together in Calgary sooner than later.
That's right. Any major moves happening as we close in on 12 minutes till NHL trade deadline, and then you know what's going to happen then. It's going to be a full-out barrage of deals happening. I don't foresee I don't foresee a huge run at the end though this year, do you?
No, just the Coyotes shedding every veteran they have. So now Matt Dumba's going to the Tampa Bay Lightning for a 5th round pick. So Zucker's gone, Dumba's gone.
Let's have another pick. How bad are they going to be down the stretch?
I don't think they can be any worse than they have been, can they?
I don't know, not lately.
Oh, one of the coolest names goaltenders in pro hockey history, Magnus Hellberg, is now a Florida Panther.
Okay.
So for Ludovic Weber, who I don't know, but another goaltender. And then Flyers getting Eric Johnson, which makes sense after Walker was traded.
I'm going to pick your brain on something.
Shouldn't take long.
This week, word drops that Kuzmenko is on waivers from Washington. And I saw
Kuznetsov.
Kuznetsov. Yeah. I've been up doing deadline stuff since about 8:00 this morning, and it's definitely creepy.
I wish I was doing that instead of dealing with work BS, but yeah.
So Kuznetsov on waivers, and obviously clears. But I saw a lot of people say that Calgary should take a poke at him. And
just because they're rebuilding, the Soviet Union, essentially, with all the Russian players they have. Although most of them were born in modern Russia.
I'm like, is this like a joke? Like, do people seriously want this guy? Like,
I think it was about asset management and creativity is a possible thing they could do, but there's just too much involved to make it happen. Now he is now a Carolina Hurricane, which is interesting. I think if 50% retention.
Trade up here. That trade happened this morning, correct? Here it is. 50% retain in a 3rd round pick. He goes to Carolina. But I wonder how that's going to work. I mean, we got a guy coming just right out of the player assistance program. Let me just put it this way. That's a risky move by Carolina. It could pay off huge for them.
That's probably what he needed.
Is it what
my dog just walked in to check on the trade deadline activity. Probably hears nails clicking.
Is that what Carolina needs?
Why not? Is there really that much of a risk involved in this case?
A lot of money. You got him for next year too.
They're 50% retained though, so that's a big difference.
Well, he's still $4 million.
It's definitely a risk, mitigated by the cap retention, but still, it's like, would I have done it? No, but he's very skilled, so I kind of see the appeal. I have a feeling that there was some conversations with him prior to this happening, because I have no doubt Washington allowed those conversations to take place. If they got a good feeling that this guy wanted to resurrect his career, then screw it. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was an interesting one. So when you saw Michael Phillips on waivers again, did you want to claim him or?
Matty Phillips? Yeah, kind of. Wrangler's run. I could see him fitting in. I'm getting over the.
When are we going to be over this, Kyle? When are we not going to talk about this anymore?
When he stops getting fucking waived. So maybe never. I don't think he was going to be a full-time NHLer. At one point, I thought he had the potential, but now I'm not so sure. But he'd be a good fit with the Wranglers for depth run, I think.
I only brought it up today just so we can argue.
Oh, yeah, of course. I'd love for that guy to light the world on fire and win a Conn Smythe Trophy just to piss you off. But, I don't know.
I don't like him. I like him. I don't know. I don't know. It was just another thing that was big on Flames socials last year.
Because he never got a chance and he was here, and I don't think it's fair to think that anybody knew he didn't or wouldn't pan out. I don't.
You know how many players every team in the every organization has that never get a chance?
Too many.
I mean, I could pull up Calgary's right now, and there's a boatload that are never going to get a chance.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, but he earned it. And that's the problem. Is he absolutely earned it? He was never really given it.
I agree. I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah,
I do agree.
I haven't gone so long. My calendar still says February. I gotta fix that.
That is, yeah. You definitely need to.
Hey, let's see who's on the month of March, because this is Markstrom and he's still a Flame. Just one sec. It is. Oh, Blake Coleman. In last year's reverse retro pedestal. It's kind of cool.
So I want to talk to you about this one. Oliver Shillington is a pending UFA. Still no contract.
It's coming. It's coming. Manifest it. We want it.
What is it going to be?
What was he making? 2.5, I think?
No, I don't think it was that much.
I would say, well, that's what I wanted to make.
2.5. You're right. 2.5.
Ha-ha. Yes. First time for everything. We're going to say 2 times 2.5. Give him a 2-year deal.
What if he says no? Somebody else will give me 4.
Well, after everything we did for you, I'm going to play the emotional card.
Well, no, that's what scares me, though. And I don't know. And I'm not saying Oliver Shillington's going to do that, but we paid 2 years or a year and a half of salary without any player. I hope that that's taken into consideration in this deal. And I really hope we can sign him, because I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's a hell of a good guy. He's probably one of our bigger bright spots this year, has he not?
Yeah. He made Hanifin far more expendable in my mind. Far more.
I don't think we wanted to move Hanifin. I think we had to move Hanifin.
But we 100% had to, right? But it made it a lot more digestible. Maybe that's how I should say it.
Yeah.
Also, good job on the backdrops for the show. These are great.
Try to change something up for the deadline day, man. It's always a big day for me. It's kind of like Christmas.
It's a Christmas backlog, because in half an hour we're going to get 50 trades that, Actually, my boss reminded me of the day, Jonas Höglund, forever a Flame. When he was at the Leafs, he was getting traded somewhere, but at the time the fax machine jammed. He never got traded.
I have heard that story. So when you think back to trade deadline moves of the Flames that were ones where you were like, oh man, this is for real. This is going to be the one.
I've got one and one only.
Really?
Who do you think it was?
Michael Stone in 2017.
I did like that one at the time, and I liked it again 2 years later. No, Olli Jokinen. I was so excited when they got Jokinen. I was in my last year of university, and I lost my shit.
When we traded him to New York, or
when we got him in 2009. I was like, here we go. And I remember the TSN panels, like, Calgary finally got a center. Like, they are legit cup contenders. I'm like, yeah, we are. And no, we weren't.
Oh, that was in March 4th, 2009. We get Ole Jokinen in a third rounder from Phoenix for a first rounder, Matthew Lombardi and Brandon Prust.
So, yeah, they got stomped by Chicago in the playoffs, 4-2. And I still have Mike Camilleri's home jersey from that playoff series hanging up in my basement. I also have one of Matthew Lombardi's from 2004 playoff run. I actually really like Lombardi, but
I have the puck that Jerome McGinley scored, like the goal in Game 3.
In that series in 2009?
No, that was the series in we have Chicago in 2004. No, 2006.
2006, we had Anaheim.
And we lost Anaheim right away. Maybe it was a Chicago.
Have to check. 2008, we had Detroit.
But I can't reach it.
No. Why can't I remember these crappy playoff runs?
I can
08 was San Jose. 07 was Detroit. 06 was Anaheim.
Yeah.
Because, see, we're really good at first-round playoff exits, so it's easy to remember.
We were really good. Yeah, we were really good at it. You know what trade really got me excited, though, on deadline
This is I wanted to ask you next, because that's a great question. So what one were you like, yeah, let's go?
Oh, my God. I tooted this guy's horn for like a month to get him. And I was so freaking irritated. March 16th, 2022, Calgary gets Järnkrok. Seattle gets a second, a third, and a seventh. And I thought when we got this guy, I'm like, he fits the piece we needed.
Yeah.
Did not work out so well.
No, it didn't. He didn't score a goal, did he? Maybe in the playoffs or not even?
I don't think he scored in the playoffs at all. I think he scored a couple leading up to it, but it was a far, far, far cry from what he should have scored.
Yeah. And that was he was Elias Lindholm's cousin. And that's a great lesson. Now, Järnkrok wasn't necessarily ever going to be like a super high impact player, but it really speaks to how loading up at the trade deadline doesn't necessarily mean a thing. So even like the Jets getting to Foley, I love it on paper. I'll be wearing a Jets jersey in the playoffs, especially if the Flames aren't there. But is he going to score 10 goals in the playoffs or score none? Like, you don't know, right?
I don't think the Winnipeg Jets are going to be all that happy with Tyler Toffoli.
I don't know. I really don't know, but whatever the case, you can't. As exciting as it is, like, I don't know.
He had such a good year in Calgary,
Mm-hmm.
I knew that wasn't going to be able to be repeated. I mean, think of what New Jersey was so freaking excited to get him.
Yeah.
They didn't even have him for 60 games, did they? Think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that? He even plays 60-some games there.
Yep. What else we got? Anything else going on right now?
Let's look here at the list. Vegas is acquiring Thomas Hurt. No.
What? Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's a big move.
Like, come on. How much cap circumvention can these guys get away with?
Hurdle to Vegas, pending trade call right now.
They need to investigate that team, man. Kelly McCrimmon is just, committing crimes left, right, and center.
Holy cow. Those are 3 giant pieces that the Vegas Golden Knights have added.
Oof. Why am I drawing a blank on the third? Hanifin, Hurdle. Who's the other one?
Mantha.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, my.
Yeah, James Johnson just tweets, how? This has got to stop. Like, this is not possible. Excuse me, it's not Pospisil. We're going to popularize that.
Gosh,
I'm getting sick of this, man. Like, so when the playoffs start, like, let's assume that the cap applied in the playoffs, they'd have a payroll of like $110 million. Like, it's ridiculous.
How many guys do they have on LTIR right now? Pulling it up. I don't even know how they're able to do this. Because currently they have Stone and Lehner. So they got $14.5 million on LTIR right now. On injured reserve, they have 9.375 on injured reserve. I don't know how this fits in. Because according to Cap Friendly at the moment, they have cap space of 5.5. How much is Hurdle making?
Was he making like 8?
Pulling it up.
Well, it looks like the Jets got Colin Miller too. That's a good pickup for them.
He's already off the Jets or off the Sharks.
That's frustrating. Why do they get away with this? Why does the league not care that Vegas can just do whatever they want?
Wow, he's 8.1. Oof. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that fits. I don't know how they can finagle this stuff.
Somebody's retiring after the season, probably Markstrom.
But they keep doing it.
And they keep getting away with it, and that's not okay.
I agree. I just think, what are we ever going to be in that position to do this in Calgary?
Nobody will be able to, because Vegas is ruining it for everyone with all these high-profile acquisitions.
Yeah, but Vegas,
I hate the Knights, so whatever.
Vegas didn't start this.
No, but they're doing a hell of a lot more than anybody else has. That's for sure.
They're doing a better job of it, aren't they? Holy cow!
Yeah.
Oh. We'll dive back into the trades here in 1 second. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Pospisil hit.
Yeah.
6 seconds into the game, he drills Adam Larson, which was clean by the rule book, borderline. And then later in the game, with like 6 minutes ago, I believe it was, he drills Travis Dunn from behind.
Vince Dunn?
Vince Dunn. What is with me my first name?
Oh, no.
You know who Travis Dunn is?
No.
He was a pro hockey player.
Was he?
Yep. Played college hockey at the University of North Dakota.
There it is.
Went on to the St. Louis.
At least you had an excuse for that one.
Yeah. He was one of my childhood heroes, man.
Does he know that? Because you can probably still tell him.
No, he's a sportscaster now.
Ah, okay.
I don't think he cares. I don't.
Okay, so I think he cares. That's funny. So they hit from behind on Vince Dunn. Yeah.
3-game suspension handed down. He served his first game the other night.
Yep.
I guess the part I want to get your take on is he doesn't fight. Pospisil's got what? Is it 6 concussions? It's a
lot.
It's a lot amount, right? And he was very vocal inside. He's preferring not to fight. He was challenged on multiple occasions. Once drastically challenged and chose to not fight. Is a guy like Pospisil gonna be? Is he gonna have to tone his game down, which will make him ineffective? If he's not going to stand up to it.
No, he just has to not do stupid shit like drill people from behind. I mean, a lot of these guys that play this way don't fight because they don't have to, and also it's a guaranteed way to get CTE and die young, right? As we've seen with so many. So I don't have an issue with fighting per se. I have an issue with staged fighting. But as long as he doesn't do dumb shit, he shouldn't have to fight. But what he did to Vince Dunn was dumb. Was very dumb. And I don't know where his head was at or why he didn't let up more or why he thought, like, there's been some saying, like, Dunn wasn't that close to the boards or he was turning. Like, it doesn't matter. Hockey's a fast game. He committed to a play that could have been dangerous and he should have known just from what he saw at the time. And it's stupid. But I don't think he's going to have to change the way he plays. He just has to play a little bit smarter and not do stuff like that.
Yeah. He's going to have to learn that line a little bit more. But,
Well, and he's young. He's trying to prove himself. His team's down. Like, remember when Corey Sarich destroyed Patrick Marleau and saved Game 3 against the Sharks in Calgary in 08? Like, that's the kind of shit you want to do, but that was a perfectly clean hit. It was entirely Marleau's fault that it happened. Sarich didn't fight and shouldn't have to fight because he did exactly what he's within the rules to do. Pospisil play was a dirty play, and I don't think you're going to see that from him too much in the future. And 3 games, I lean towards 2, but I can understand 3.
I know. I feel like they took the Larson hit into consideration, and they shouldn't. I don't think that's right.
They would never admitted that, but maybe.
Don't you think so? I mean, I just think that's how do you get that to 3? I don't know. I'm not
to try and prove a point to a new player. I mean, progressively over time, I think that's the idea. Send a message, say, "Look, man, no, it's your first offense, but we don't want to see this again."
It's the second offense. You got that cheesy one on the Marchand play.
Oh, that was stupid. Anyway, you're right. Anyway, they're trying to send a message, prove a point, and maybe that factored into it, but whatever.
So word came out this week. Pierre LeBrun reported that a first was offered for Chris Tanev. And he speculates that the package involved a first and Cody Ceci from Edmonton, or Colorado, a first and Ryan Johansson. Does this upset you to see this or not?
No.
It didn't upset me at all either.
Don't care at all. I think even Danny Briere said about Johansson, like, is he a part of your future plans? No.
That's what I mean. Like, what? You're getting a late round pick in the first anyways. You might as well just take your second, not have to deal with taking a scrub with him, right?
So who said, because I'm looking at live things now, like team's done for the day, blah, blah, blah. Who said that Phil Kessel was going to sign with Vancouver today? Was it Saravelli or somebody else?
There was a lot of reports that he was, he was in Abbotsford skating, was he not?
He was, but guess what? All the reports are wrong because he did not sign.
Well, when I found out he was there, I said to multiple people, of all the people that you think are not going to be in shape after not playing for 8 months, it's going to be Phil Kessel, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Right? Like, I had no faith that he was coming to Vancouver in shape.
He's never been in shape. He is a shape, but he's not in shape.
Yeah. So, no, it doesn't surprise me at all. What does surprise me is that Vancouver didn't do any more today.
I thought they would.
I did too. When you look around the Pacific, let's take a little stroll through the Pacific and see who really, really improved and who didn't. Vancouver, how was their deadline? The fact that they were reportedly shopping Lindholm, which I don't know if I believe that or not, is mind-blowing.
Yep.
Crazy. Edmonton, do you think? I like the Stetcher signing, or the Stetcher trade.
We're big Stetcher fans here.
We do. We like them.
I like everything they did, actually.
Do you think they did enough?
I don't trust their goaltending.
I don't either, but I don't know if there was a fix for it, right? Outside of getting Markstrom from Calgary, which I don't think was ever going to happen, who would they have had to bring in for us to say, or who was available? Gibson, I guess, in Anaheim.
I don't know, but is there a worse goaltender signing in the last 5 years than Jack Campbell?
Toronto, who have they signed lately? No,
nobody to that kind of term.
No, Campbell's probably the worst.
Hate to say it. Well, I don't hate to say it. Let's be honest.
Now, I know LA was pretty strapped with the cap. So was Vegas, but LA did not make really any moves to speak of.
No.
I don't even know if they made a move. Did they?
I don't think so. So Hurdle's injured right now, but will be ready for the playoffs. Like, for God's sakes.
Oh, so they're just going to LTIR him?
Yep.
So it won't even affect their cap.
I don't know why the league is allowing this. It's in the rules, I guess, so.
LA made 0 trades. Let's pull up Vegas's moves here.
Man, this is frustrating. Yeah, Hurdle's already on LTIR, so at least Vegas didn't have to do it.
They don't even have to do anything. Well, that's not going to work. A Sportsnet's trade tracker does not work. It does not let you go to individual teams, which is
stupid.
Defeats the purpose of the trade tracker. Dumba, boy, that's going to be interesting for Tampa Bay. Oof.
Yeah, he has not had a good year, but who in Arizona has? So
Jack Roslovic to the Rangers for a conditional fourth.
Oh, the hometown Columbus boy shipped out of town
for a fourth rounder.
Oh, yeah. Well, somebody said earlier it's definitely a buyer's market. I'm inclined to agree. Some of these returns are not good.
No.
How the hell does Jack Roslovic not get a third rounder?
That's not a good return at all.
No.
So right now, when you look at, there's been a lot of Canadian teams making moves. Although we did not hear much at all. Anything? Did we hear anything from Toronto today?
Just a lot of bitching from their fans, but that's every day.
Yeah. Which Canadian team has the best shot to win the Stanley Cup?
Jets.
You think the Jets do, huh? Over the Oilers? Well, the Jets have the goaltending. The Canucks have the goaltending.
Yeah. It's a bit of a coin toss. I don't trust the Oilers to make a deep playoff run, and the Leafs are completely devoid of character. You hear what Max Domi said yesterday? It just, I gotta look it up because I'm gonna read this to you, and this is my reaction. So, whenever Toronto plays Boston, it's going to be a war out there. We hung in there, and we kind of made a pact in the locker room that no matter what happens, we're going to stick together. And I said, they had to make a pact? That's how pathetic your locker room is?
What are we, like fourth grade here? Or?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure John Tavares had lots to say about lessons with his stupid monotone voice. He is the worst captain in pro hockey. I have no time for that man.
Really?
I cannot stand him. The day the Leafs signed the contract, like that's when Dubas signed them, like that's the last thing you need is John Tavares. And now you're married to the guy for however many more years. Like you don't win with guys like that. Lou Lamoriello said it best when he left the island. He had tremendous individual accomplishments while on Long Island, which is the best backhand accomplishment I've seen in the last few years. But yeah, guys like him make me hate the Leafs.
There's a lot of things that make me hate the Leafs.
Oh, look at this. So because of the trade with San Jose, Flames will officially get the Vegas 2026 first pick, which is unprotected.
Do you look at that as good news or
100%? It's unprotected. Eventually, the bottom's going to fall out on this Vegas team.
Yeah, it really could.
Goaltending, yeah, like this is a bit of a gamble, but it could be great. So, oh, I should also mention I met Will Shepherd in Calgary. Delightful guy as well. So a first, 25 first, David Edstrom, 17% of Hurdle's salary retained, a third and 25 and a third and 27. That's a good deal actually for the Sharks. That's a smart move.
How many draft picks does Vegas have left?
Not very goddamn many. Gonna wait 2 years for that first round pick from them. That's crazy. A lot is going to change in that time.
That actually is way more appealing to me than any of the other ones.
100%.
I feel like that could be a diamond in the rough. That's hopefully, if things go as planned, that's going to carry us even further with the transition. I mean, I don't think we're on like a 5-year plan here in Calgary. I would hope it's like 3 years and 2 years we're a real competitive hockey team. And
well, that's the hope.
But you're going to have to get good goaltending.
Absolutely.
And you feel totally confident with Wolf?
It's too early to say, but I'm comfortable. Here's an interesting one. Speaking of goaltenders, actually, it's a good segue. Saravelli tweeted that the Bruins sounded like they had a deal on the table to move Linus Ullmark to the Kings, but didn't get across the line.
Oh, how did that fall through? That would have been a huge move for the Kings.
Yep, man. West Coast Hockey, great Twitter follow. It's going to not be happy about that, I'm quite sure.
That changes everything in LA so much.
Sorry, West Coast Hockey Bias. Those guys are super active.
Yeah, that's crazy because that changes LA's a tremendous amount.
Oh, big time. Big time. Man. Whew. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from them now. Just getting this update again, see what else is happening. This is the time of day where it all comes in, right?
Yep, this is the most of X is filled with Vegas. People asking how is this possible?
Yeah.
But when you look at the standings, Vegas is the team that we're closest to catching.
Maybe closer after they did nothing today, apparently.
You mean LA?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very possible.
Well, I mean, Vegas, we're only, 5 points back of Vegas?
Yeah, I haven't looked at that again, actually. But I mean...
6 points back of Vegas, 8 points back of LA.
Crazy. Connor Dewar traded to Toronto.
Elliot Friedman just reports that Hurdle is expected to return in the regular season. I don't know how they're going to have to injure him again quickly because I don't know how that's going to keep him the cap.
Is Pospisil back for when they play the Knights? We might be able to arrange that for them.
We'll probably get a fourth round draft pick for that. Vegas would give us a fourth rounder to injure one of their guys so they could put them on LTIR.
This is a terrible discussion.
Oh man, 17% or 17% retention. How do they come up with that number?
That I don't know. Oilers are done. What else we got here? Yeah, it's kind of that slow period. It's like some ebbs and flows, right?
It's interesting. Some of the teams that were inactive, and then some of the teams I guess we didn't expect. And then you got a team like Arizona who just is throwing out just throwing out players. Here, take this guy, give us a fifth.
Yeah.
It's like
100%.
Interesting how it all plays out. Can't think of any guys that were huge on the trade tracker board. Let me pull up my trade tracker thing to see if anybody that didn't go that we expected to go. Duclair went, Wenberg went, Granlund went, Allen went. Riley Smith did not go.
That we know of yet.
That we know of, yes, yeah. Chikrin, a lot of talk of him. He did not go. Eberle re-signed with Seattle. Vetrano, did not see him.
Interesting thought here from one of my favorite accounts, Kim Jong Bettman. Mike Greer might be the best GM in the league after moving Carlson and Hurdle's contracts. It's a good point.
Oh, yeah. Give me a break, though.
Those were not easy contracts to move. He really duped Dubas on the Carlson trade. Good God.
Well, yeah, yes, but that team is so far out from being credible that it's not even funny.
A lot closer to getting rid of those two.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Who are they going to go? Who are they going to spend their money on now then?
Whoever the fuck they want.
Who is going there?
Who can say? Give it a year. Let's see. These guys start to develop. I mean, you got to get rid of those albatross contracts, right? So, anyway, we shall see. We shall see.
So, one thing we didn't talk about that I want to touch base on, and we'll hop back into the trades thing. Jacob Markstrom's comments.
Yeah. Again, everything's too public.
A lot different at the top. Why do you think he did that?
Send a message that he's pissed. Problem is, I don't know if the team can come back from that, right?
Well, that's kind of where I wanted this conversation to go. So, do you think he's pissed that he didn't get traded, or pissed that it went public?
Pissed that it went public, I think.
I don't think Jacob Markstrom's unhappy to be in Calgary.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think he's ever shown. Has he ever given us any signals prior to that comment, or even after that comment, that he's not happy to be in Calgary?
No, not that I interpret that way anyway.
Can we move forward with him as our goalie for the next 2 years?
Yeah. Will we? I doubt it, but yeah.
You don't worry about having him. If he's unhappy, is he unhappy being a Flame, or is he unhappy that the trade fell through, or is he unhappy that the trade was even brought up? That's what we need to, that's what we don't know, and probably will never know.
Unless he releases an autobiography someday. Then we'll know.
But you know what bothers me about this is that, one insider says the deal was nixed because of retention. The next insider says the deal wasn't nixed because of retention. It was because of an acquisition cost not being high enough. The next guy says ownership nixed it. It's like, geez, what do you believe anymore? Is credibility of insiders, or are there just too many insiders out there?
There's too many, for one. I don't know. I find it frustrating because a lot of them are completely full of shit. Like Kevin Weeks is not an insider. Never has been, never will be. No. He's wrong about so many things.
He is wrong about so many.
And it gives the rest of them a bad name.
Yep. I would agree. He is one that, like, how do you label yourself an insider? Like, what do you have to do to label yourself an insider?
Be credible. Break news that actually happens. Work your way up. Bob McKenzie's still the king for a reason, right? He's respected. He's liked.
Three of them that I will look at as the true, true
Darren
insider.
Dreger.
Yep, Dreger's on there. Friedman.
Oh, Friedman, yeah, for sure.
Are they wrong? Yeah, it happens, but it's few and far between.
I would agree with that. I would concur. Kyle posted to Florida was kind of interesting too. I forgot about that.
That is a big trade.
Still nothing. Still nothing more.
Just says here, not that anyone cares right now, but an agent tells me Hurdle just saved over $6 million in taxes.
I'm sure Hurdle cares. I wouldn't say nobody cares.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
I don't foresee anything trickling in for Calgary. Do you?
There's some rumor of a potential deal, but I don't know the magnitude of it, but I'm not inclined to believe that's necessarily the case.
I'm not seeing anything on Calgary front that's trickling.
No, me neither.
We're 24 minutes past deadline.
Yeah, they usually come in for the next little bit.
Oh, and we're going to see the posts all day long. Who was the biggest winner of NHL Trade Deadline? I don't know. I'll tell you in June, okay?
Yeah, well, because a lot of teams are going to fall flat, right?
Absolutely.
We'll, yeah, I mean, it's too early to judge any of this stuff, but a lot of people still will. I mean, some of the returns that are terrible, like for the teams selling, is a little more obvious. But I mean, in terms of what it means to playoff bound teams, that's what I mean. It's like, oh, these teams are loading up. A lot of them fall flat. Remember the Leafs every year would get like an Owen Nolan or an Alex McGillney or like, and they had really good teams with Curtis Joseph and Net and Matt Sundin and Thomas Caberlet, but they just couldn't seem to do it. So we can't really judge this until we're basically through the playoffs. San Jose getting David Edstrom in that the Hurdle trade, I think that's a really good return. Never mind the other assets. But again, maybe he doesn't pan out. Maybe he goes all Tim Erickson on them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
time will tell. An interesting deadline day, not a super active one, especially for us in Calgary. but kind of what we expected. Let's roll on into the X Factor. And this one kind of caught me off guard because, well, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, I can't believe that's accurate, but it is. And Danny Austin.
I saw that. Yep.
After 62 games last season, the Flames had 67 points. After tonight, they've played 62 games. They again have 67 points. When you consider all the vets that were lost, that's pretty remarkable. And it is. And, you know, the odds of the Flames making the playoffs are slim. And we both agree that, but we have both also agreed that it's impossible for me to not cheer for us to be successful in Calgary.
Absolutely. And that said, like, that is remarkable. Like, let's just rest with that fact for a second. That's remarkable that they've been this competitive despite shedding people. Every time they shed someone, they win.
Yes. And I mean, they rattle off a 4-game win streak. They do lose to Seattle and bounce right back with a big win over Tampa Bay. The Florida trip continues Saturday. Another day game. You know how much I love those. Calgary in Sunrise to take on the Panthers. Sunday, back-to-back. They're in Carolina for another wonderful day game on a Sunday afternoon. And then we come back to the Dome for a Tuesday night matchup against the Colorado Avalanche. That is what lies ahead for the Flames this week.
Now,
it has come and gone, and I will be pissed as soon as we get off here now if something drops for the Flames. Which I really don't think it will.
I don't think so either, but there's two things I want to mention as pertains to that. So one NHL scout had told me with regards to the Hanifin trade about how cerebral McKernan is in Vegas as a GM. So Kelly McCrimmon is like very, very good, shrewd negotiator, and he basically said, you know, like Conroy's got a pistol and McCrimmon has a machine gun. And it's no disrespect to Conroy, but I mean, this guy, in terms of what he's doing with the cap, everything else, he is good, real good.
He is.
So
we can get mad, we can get frustrated what Vegas is doing, but they're obviously staying within the league guidelines, and it's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. Tonight, I mean, up until it changes, he's still playing within the rules. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, if this is it, and this is going to be it, or damn near it, I would think, for the Flames, are you happy with everything Conroy's done?
Yeah. It's one thing that here's funny is I didn't allow myself to get wrapped up in, I think we need to get, because there's so many variables. I think it's impossible to say we need to get this. 100%. I think our returns were, I thought the return for Lindholm was mind-blowingly good.
It was the best return for a sell I've seen in a little while, for sure.
I thought the return for Hanif was okay, and I thought the return for Hanifin was fair.
It was, yep. And I think those who don't know him are going to be very happy with the defenseman they acquired. So a quick update here, too. So we still don't know if Flames are done making the moves. Craig Conrad could be on the queue doing something since no one has reported Flames are done for the day. Because this is usually when those reports come in, right? So,
you know, what about when you look at the Toffoli deal? Like, I can say now, after New Jersey's already given up on him, that we've won that one. I think we can say that, right? I mean, that's probably the only time we get to say that, but I don't know. I think all in all, I don't think we could be happier. I'm not calling Craig Conroy the greatest general manager in Flames history yet. We have a lot to be determined. And what happens over the next this offseason and in next season will dictate a lot of where we really go with this organization, who we're able to draft, how we're able to, see Samuel Hanzik progress, and how Coronado moves into this position, and what do we have in Jacob Peltier. There's a lot of unanswered questions on the people that we have right in front of us. And I think that's really where we need to go. And then, as Calgary Flames fans, when you look at what Martin Pospisil and Zari have done this year, and it's like, man, we have so much to be thankful for. Think about we found some hidden gems this year that we really didn't. I mean, I'm not saying we didn't expect, Connor to be a solid player, but I don't know how many of us had Martin Pospisil penciled in as an everyday NHL player, but and that's what we're faced with right now.
None of us did. None of us did. And even again, Pahal, and it's only one game, but like it's, I don't know, it's just it's unbelievable that like with Hanley, like it's unbelievable what they've done so far. Like I don't think there's ever been a Flames GM who's been as effective with waivers, and that might seem like a stretch without looking into it more, but man, he's been good at it. So, yeah. And these are movable assets, if that's what they need to do. Obviously, it'd be in the summer after today, assuming nothing else has happened. As I continue to check once more,
make our final check here, Kyle, as we let everybody.
A lot of Zegers to Calgary rumors, which wouldn't that be cool? But I shouldn't say rumors, just bullshit and conjecture, I would say. But I think that's all she got. But you know what? It's the weekend. I'm happy to jump on again if there's something worth discussing. So
that is true. We will we will call it a day. We will call it a deadline day. If something was to drop, we will definitely jump back on. But that was our first live show. We'll see. We'll be doing more of these in the future. But you know what, Flames fans, now we can have some peace and quiet. We can take a step back. Learn what we have for the players on our roster right now and kind of make our plans moving forward on where we go. So I think it's a day to be happy in Calgary.
Yeah, I think so. And we get to see what some of these guys can do down the stretch. And we'll see what happens with this improbable playoff run. I expect we'll finish probably 2 or 4 points out again. So
let's do it, right? Oh well. We got to cheer for our team, though, right? We got to cheer for our team. So we'll see what happens. The road trip continues in Sunrise tomorrow. Next week we are back with normal shows. Yes, Kyle and I are back recording Wednesday for a Thursday drop next week. Normal format, normal show. I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about. As we look forward to doing these shows every single week. Thank you for all the listeners that joined in today and have listened, over the last 5 years as we are on season 5 of Flames Unfiltered. We can all relax. Let's sit back and enjoy our weekend and watch some more Flames hockey.
Can't wait, man. And we will be in touch as things potentially roll in. Otherwise, we hope everybody is at least somewhat satisfied with the acquisitions and trades.
Have a good weekend, Flames fans.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to Flames Unfiltered with Brad Burud and Kyle Lewis, your source for unfiltered Calgary Flames hockey talk. Keep it locked on flamesunfiltered.ca. Subscribe where you get all your podcasts to never miss an episode. Flames hockey talk every week, presented by Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.